So, I am the Web Accessibility Specialist here at Stanford. I work out of University of Communications. I work with Scott Stocker, for any folks who may know who he is. He's been at Stanford for a number of years, so lots of folks know who he is, which helps me in my work. And what my work consists of is a couple of different things. One thing is that I assess Stanford websites, particularly focusing on high traffic sites and high visibility sites. I assess them against the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. Stanford focuses on, it's called WCAG for short. You may hear people pronounce it differently, but WCAG, mostly people know what you mean. WCAG 2.0, and we focus on the AA criteria. I'm not going to launch into any discussion of those criteria, what they mean, but the short version to think about when you think about WCAG is POUR, P-O-U-R. Perceivable, perceivable, operable.
Understandable.
Thank you. Understandable and robust. Was that my colleague there, JB, in the back?
Yeah.
So anyway, so those are the four criteria. I don't actually think about them that way very often because I kind of know them back and forth. So that's why I'm a little caught short. So I work on assessing.
Jennifer, I'm going to give you a mic.
Oh, it'd be good if you could hear me. There we go. All right, I'll try not to make mic noise. Is this okay? Okay, good. I work on assessing websites, and I also am building, and it is a journey to build a website for the Stanford Online Accessibility Program. And we call that here SOAP. So it's soap.stanford.edu. And you're welcome to take a look around, and the content will be growing as fast as I can write it and get it posted. That's pretty much the work that I'm doing. People that are, for those that are students here at Stanford, there's a different office that would be available to help you with accessibility needs in terms of working with assistive technology, in terms of working with to get your documents, for example, in accessible formats to you, if you needed a different format, that kind of thing. That's the Office of Accessible Education. So there's sort of the website aspect of it, and then there's more the assistive technology aspect of things. So just want to give you a bit of a rundown, bit of an orientation of what we're doing here at Stanford. My job has just expanded, become a Stanford staff member as opposed to a contractor. So I'm just getting myself revved up here. That just happened in the last 2 weeks. So I've got my work cut out for me. We've got plenty to do. I have no concern, frankly, about job security. There are lots of websites and things to be looking at. At the same time, we also have some good strategies here at Stanford in place to help assure accessibility. One of those has to do, any of you all heard of the Stanford Web Services, the group that has built a Drupal framework, basically, that Stanford can use. And that framework has a lot of accessibility features and functionality built in for free. And so if people use Stanford sites, you can get it up and running with a website really quickly and get a lot of accessibility for free. So I'm going to wrap up, but I want to leave you with 2 books, and then I want to take a little bit of a quick poll in terms of to find out who you all are, so that folks who come after me will know who they're talking to. So, books. I would recommend a recently released book that I know Stanford has. It is a Rosenfeld Media book. Have you all heard of Rosenfeld Media? You should, because they've got all the great usability books. And they also have a great book book where we're having sort of crossover and interaction between accessibility and usability, which I believe deeply in. And that book is called A Web for Everyone. So it's available electronically from the Stanford Library. Authors, you'll recognize when you see them. Names are a little bit hard to spell. Quisenberry, anybody heard of Whitney Quisenberry? Whitney Quisenberry and Sarah Horton. So that's one book. And then the other one was just crossing my mind when Michael was introducing me. So this is a quiz for anybody who can remember. There's this really good user interaction book, not so focused on the web, but focused more on products and that kind of thing. It's by Graham Pullen. Anybody know this book? Can't remember the title.
Designing for Disability.
That's right. That's right. So that's a really good one if you haven't taken a look. I would say that it's sort of one of the founding books in the field. So make notes of those, and they're get you off to a good start. A Web for Everyone focuses a lot on personas of people with disabilities and how they use the web. So that's what I got for you today. And to wrap up, I'd like to take, we're going to do hand raising for sighted folks and audio cueing for blind folks. Don't shout out because it's, speak up, but it's not a competition in terms of who wins. So don't skew the results. First general question, about how many people in the room?
Here.
Okay.
60 or 70.
I was going to say, are we having food coma? I might be soon. Okay.
It is a Friday.
Exactly, it is a Friday. Okay, 60 or 70. Okay, students, raise hands and give a little audio cue.
Cheers.
Okay, so about half.
A little bit more.
Okay, Stanford staff. Okay, and that includes faculty as well. Right? Oh, good, you guys are separate too. Okay, excellent. Does that pretty much cover everybody? Oh, public. We got some public people that might have come.
Yeah, we did.
That's us.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you guys for your time. And I know I went over, but we're done. I'm done. And next person. Think I hit it? Okay. Excellent.
All right. Victor, here's your
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, so the title of our talk today is Building an Accessible Web, making sure that the web is usable by all people. Now, before I go in and unpack what that means a little bit more tangibly, I wanted to try to root this topic of accessibility within the context of CS 547. So, according to CS 547's website, this is a seminar about people, computers, and design. And this is actually a really nice capture of what accessibility is about, because accessibility intimately touches each of these three things. So when we use the term accessibility in the context of technology, we are typically talking about people with disabilities interacting with computers. And in order for people with disabilities to interact with computers successfully, in some cases, they need to use assistive technology. Now, one example of that we're going to focus on today is screen readers, and that's a piece of assistive technology that blind people use to interact with the web. The place where design comes in is that in order for your experience, your web experience that you're building, the product that you're building, to be usable by somebody, say, who is using a screen reader, you need to make conscious decisions about how you design and engineer that web experience. You don't always just get accessibility for free. So I've been talking pretty abstractly for the past minute or so, and it's not unreasonable that you might feel a little bit like Austin here.
Whoop-de-doo! What does it all mean, Basil?
Right? What does this all mean, right? What does it actually entail in terms of trying to make one's web experience accessible to people with disabilities? So we're hopefully going to explain some of that today over the course of the next 30 minutes, prove to you that you do need to make some conscious decisions, but also empower you guys to know what to do. Whether or not you are engineering a website, designing a website, doing research from an HCI perspective on a website, it's important for each of these people who touch a product to understand a little bit more about what accessibility is and what you need to do to make something accessible in order for the web in general to become more accessible. So to make this a little bit less abstract and really make this a lot clearer to you guys, I'm going to pass this over to Victor. And Victor's going to walk you through what the experience is like for somebody who is using a screen reader to interact with the computer and interact with the web.
All right. I need to come here, right?
Yeah. Cool. So that's just to your right here. Here's the machine. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. Is the mic working? Hello, hello.
Yeah, I think so.
YouTube, can you hear me? Just kidding. Hello, can you hear me?
There you go.
All right. I didn't have my coffee, sorry. So hey guys, thanks for coming. This is always great to talk to students. I've been one myself, as you can imagine, one day. And especially to you HCI people, this is like even more amazing. This is one of the areas that I personally work in at PayPal, but this is also the area where I spend most of my life is just making the darn computers interact with me, right? This is just as big of an HCI problem as any other one. And most of you interact with the world by looking at things around you. Everything is, you're being bombarded with a lot of visual information, so naturally your visual sense is overloaded, but that's unfortunately pretty much the most used sense out of all that you have. In my instance, I'm actually on the other side of the spectrum, which means I can't see anything. And that means that I'm not bombarded with all the junk that you guys are. This is a great thing. I don't see all the freaking ads and things like that. Another great thing, I don't see all the pop-ups and animations. But unfortunately, good or bad, they do interfere with my experience. And I'm going to show you in a minute why. So how do I interact with the computer? I use a technology that Jeff already mentioned called screen reader. Screen reader is a slightly misleading name because all of us are screen readers, right? You guys read screen, right? Right? So when I started back at the university, I had a lot of screen readers, people who would read screen for me, because at that time there was no computers that I could take advantage of. But the technology I'm talking about is actually a software that is built into every modern operating system. Mac OS, Windows, iOS, Android, you name it, they all have this software we call a screen reader. And essentially the task of a screen reader is to communicate the information that appears on the screen to somebody who cannot see it. So this is done usually via speech synthesis. And I want to separate those two things for you right away because most people think that speech is a part of the screen reader. This is exactly not exactly correct. Speech synthesis is different from screen reader, and we'll find out in a moment why. So let me see. I haven't used Jeff's computer before, so let's see what's going to happen here.
VoiceOver on Safari, Facebook window, Facebook HTML.
That's cool. All right. So back in 2005, I think, or 2006, Apple said that we can make it possible for any blind user to come up to any Apple computer anywhere in the world, press a shortcut key, and be ready to go. At that time, what you had to do, and on Windows, if you're like on anything before Windows 8, you still have to do that. You have to actually ask somebody to go and download for you the piece of software, help you install it, launch it for you, and only then you will be able to go ahead and use the computer. With Apple, all you need to know is that when you press Command F5, this thing launches. No matter what you do, whether you're reading your email, whether you're on Facebook or using PayPal or whatnot, it's going to launch and it's going to start talking to you. So from then on, most likely what's going to happen to you, you're just going to get confused because you're like, I don't know what to do with this thing, right? Because one of the things you will find out that screen, well, not only that it talks, which you probably need to be able to understand, but it also will interfere with the way you use the computer. I'm not going to go into all the details because it's a little bit maybe more advanced for this particular presentation today, but suffice it to say that in order to be efficient in using the screen reader, you need to know how it works. I mean, it sort of makes sense, right? I mean, in order to be able to drive to San Diego, you need to know how the car works, right? So, same way. So, learn the rules of the road. So, the rules of the road for the screen reader is that as a blind user, mouse is useless to me, number one. So, anything I do on the web or anything I do on a desktop needs to be available, accessible, reachable via keyboard. Most of you guys probably know the keyboard, right? How many keys do you think you know on the keyboard? What is the biggest key on the keyboard? Oh, that was too quick. What key do you need to press to continue? Oh, that's an old Microsoft joke, sorry. Press any key to continue. Okay. Okay, so in my instance, just to keep things simple, I need to use mostly tab key and arrow keys to be able to do anything, well, not anything, most everything. On a desktop, there are other shortcuts that you'll see me using. They're specific to a screen reader. And by the way, this particular screen reader is called VoiceOver. As I mentioned, it's built into every Mac. So this is great. If you don't believe me, go to your closest Apple store, and if you want to impress your partner or the sales rep in the store, just press Command F5 and like, hey, did you know? Anyway,
And
so
don't forget to press it to turn it off when you're done too.
well, I think that's not necessary actually. That's fun if you don't actually. That is the coolest thing ever. Okay, so
Link, Facebook. Finder.
So I'm going to go
Finder.
to the desktop. The first thing I'm going to do, I'll slow this thing down. As you can imagine, just like with the car, there are people who drive slowly, there are people who drive like crazy, and there are people in the middle. That's the same way we read with the screen reader, right? Speech is a very personal thing. Some people talk fast, some people listen fast. And so in order for me to be able to interact with the screen, I kind of need to find what's the most appropriate thing for my particular ability to listen. Most people...
Volume 100%. Pitch 50%. Intonation 50%. Voice Alex. Rate 50%.
Most people will listen to something like that.
90%. 100%. Accessibility folder. Yammer volume. Yammer volume. CS5% survey. Microsoft document.
All right, did you get it? Okay, cool. So for you guys, I'm going to slow down just because I'm a really nice person. So.
50%. 35%.
All right. Actually, you know, this is
1%.
okay. You got lots of time, right? Do you? We can sit here and listen. Okay, anyway, I'll go back to something more nominal.
46%.
Like yeah.
36%. 41%.
Okay, tell me if this is too fast, and we can switch. So I've got this screen. I've got this thing talking to me. So now you know I can switch the speed. And again, just want to repeat this because in the field of HCI, it's super important to be personalizable, right? And so the same thing with the screen reader is a piece of software, and I want to be able for it to work for me as opposed to me work for it, right? I mean, who's the master here after all? So so I set it to the speed I want. The other thing with speech synthesis you can do, because again, some voices are better, other voices are not as good. So with the screen reader, I can actually go ahead and say, you know,
Pitch 50%. Rate voice Alex.
I like
Bruce.
different voice.
Fred.
Chubby.
Anybody here loves Radiohead?
Chubby.
Alex. Bruce. Fred.
They use this voice, I think, on their OK Computer album.
Personal folder.
So if you don't believe me, go back, check it. It's pretty cool. It's a very old, like Mac OS 9 or something like that.
Voice Chubby.
Alex.
Anyway, so there are high quality voices. There are like sort of low quality and something in between. You can purchase them. The most recent Mac OS comes with like 25 voices in 25 different languages and with different genders. And I mean, it's amazing. You can really adjust experience any way you want. You know, just the same way.
Rate 41. Pitch 50%.
You can go and change the pitch.
75%. 40%. 30%. 15%. 5%.
Okay, this dude is really serious now. Yeah. So
35%. 50%. Volume 100%.
And there's all kinds of other stuff. So there's volume and blah blah blah. So let's do this. No, actually, I'm going to postpone this exercise for a second. So to navigate for example, on a dock or on a desktop, I would be using tab key or arrow keys. And I expect the screen reader to give me a feedback.
Dock. Finder. Open.
One thing about VoiceOver that you guys may have noticed already.
Muting.
Let me just double check if that's.
Show Braille panel. Hide Braille. The VoiceOver quick start. In this VoiceOver on Finder. Desktop. Here. Hide caption panel. Hide caption panel.
Oops. Where's this caption thing? Here we go.
Show caption panel.
Okay. I don't know, Jeff, on your screen where it appears. On the left side, I think is by traditionally where it is. You will also see like a visual line that's telling you in text what the screen reader is saying. Don't assume that this is the behavior. This is just Apple is trying to be cool. Which is great also for educational purposes, because if somebody is deaf and they cannot hear a screen reader, they can sit down together with somebody who is using the screen reader and being able to either work on the homework together or just interact or whatever. It's a pretty nice feature. Also great feature for developers. In fact, a quick story that I heard from, this is authentic, I heard it from people who worked on voiceovers, that the way Visual Panel was born is that it was actually originally used for debugging purposes because engineers hated to listen to these synthetic voices. And so they figured out, hey, what if we just take the output of the screen reader and just put it on the screen? And then the product manager walked in and he said, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, oh, don't worry, it's going to be gone. By the time we go into beta, it won't be there. It's like, wait a second, what is it? Oh, and then he looked at it, he liked the feature so much, he said, we're definitely going to leave it in the product. And so it ended up a really, really cool thing. Developers love it. And for you guys, when you start using the screen reader, maybe just something that's going to help it, make it easier for you to interact initially. So back to the dock. So I'm going to be using left and right arrow keys. And
dock.
Oh, sorry, he's got a vertical dock, now I remember.
Trash, 20 of 20.
So I'm using the up and down arrow keys to move between the items on the dock.
Finder, open, 1 of 20. System preferences, 2 of 20. Launchpad, 3 of 20. Dashboard, 4 of 20.
So pretty simple, right? It tells you what icon you're on. Anybody who is not
You are currently on a dashboard dock item. To open dashboard, press Control.
Anybody else who's not familiar with accessibility, did you notice anything else except of the name of the icon when it was spoken? I'll give you one more hint.
Microsoft Outlook, 5 of 20.
Anything? So it said Microsoft Outlook.
You are currently on
the
application dock item. To open this application.
It said Microsoft Outlook and then it said something else.
Item number
5 of 20, right? So why is this important to know? Come on, be brave.
You know how many things there
I know it's supposed to be a presentation, but my presentations are always like that, so in case you didn't know. So anyway, so the idea is to let the screen reader user know about the size of the control we're dealing with, right? So in this case, we have 20 icons and we're on icon number 5. So it does help you to get oriented a little bit. So if in case you know that your mail icon is at the beginning of the dock, you're not going to go to item 19 and then, wrap around, but you're going to go backward because item 1 is closer to 5. So somebody clearly thought about that kind of stuff. And it appears to be very useful. Before we get off the dock.
Dashboard, Launchpad, System Prep, Finder, Trap, Finder, Open, 1 of 20.
What about this one? Finder, did you hear what it said?
You are currently on application dock. Finder, Open, 1 of 20.
It said Finder Open. That's pretty neat, right?
You are currently on application dock item. To open this application.
If I went to
Safari, Open, 8 of 20.
As opposed to?
Firefox, 7 of 20.
It's pretty cool, right? So it tells you which of the windows is currently open. So
you are currently on application dock item. To open this application, press.
Yeah, this is the This is what happens when you're in beginner mode. It gives you all these hints and stuff. So this is pretty cool, right? Again, great for somebody who cannot see, because for you guys, you take this for granted. You look at this screen, you're like, oh, I know which windows are open, right? For me, I have to go through each of these elements and trying to figure out what exactly is open. Okay, let's move on one step further. So there comes a time where arrow keys and tab keys aren't gonna do, because you need to be doing more complex operations than just moving between your items. So for example, you need to be able to switch between windows. So we know that there's at least 2 windows open on the screen, Finder and Safari. So so rely on me. Command tab is going to allow us to move between windows. So that's a built-in Mac shortcut key we're going to use. Let's see what happens there.
Safari. Keynote. Finder. Safari. Keynote. Finder.
Okay, cool. So there's actually one more window open, right, which is Keynote, his presentation. So how do I know that the Keynote is open? There's a window. You notice there's a title in the window. Every window has this title area where it tells you what the name of the app is. Especially on the web, we'll see instances where people forget to put the title, and so when you move between tabs in the browser or you move between windows, and if there's no title there, then obviously as a blind user you have no idea what you're interacting with. So a simple thing like title in your window gives a metadata for a screen reader to announce something useful. Now, interestingly enough, in Keynote's case,
Safari. Keynote. Keynote. Stanford CS547 window. Slide nav.
that's cool, right? So I know what presentation he's showing us, what presentation Jeff has opened. So this is nice without having to do anything, because the title is communicating to me the name of the document.
Finder. Safari. Safari. Tracy messaged you window. Heading level 1 link. Face.
Cool.
Yeah, my fiance is trying to contact you right now.
Okay, it's great.
Hopefully she says nice things.
Okay. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Hopefully he says nice things.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, don't provoke me. So, okay, cool. So as you can see, the context is very important. This is the title of the window, and sort of to finish the desktop
Keynote.
part of this presentation.
Finder. Find.
Similarly, if you go to the menu,
Menu bar. Apple. Finder.
I'm just using arrow keys right now.
File.
Okay, so I found the file menu.
File menu 25 items.
You heard that before, right? So it informs me that there's 25 items in the menu.
You are currently on a menu. To choose this menu item, press Ctrl.
And a lot of the other transactions you would be doing with the keyboard, through the keyboard, would be pretty much what you guys would be used to. Enter key to activate stuff, arrow keys to move left and right, up and down, and so on and so forth. So what I want to do, because I'm known to go over time, and I didn't ask anybody to alert me when the time is. All right? So what I'm going to do is move to the web, a little bit to talk about the web, and then we're going to move into the topic that excites me personally, because I worked a lot on mobile stuff, and that is really, what gets me going, wakes me up in the morning, literally. Anyway. Okay, so on the web, similarly, just like we have on the desktop, we have to interact with the web page. Mostly, well, not mostly, but by default, you will be using a tab key to navigate. That will move you between focusable elements on the page. You will hear the word focus, especially those of you. How many programmers, by the way, are in the room? Are there any developers here?
Yeah.
You want to applaud? Not to me, to yourself. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, so there are some developers. So you hear the word focus being mentioned in the context of accessibility many times. Focus events, object under focus and things like that. Very important. Why it's important?
Trackpad. Screen curtain on.
Okay, so I'm here on this web page, and you guys don't see anything, right? Me too. So how do you know where on the screen I currently am? Anybody? No, of course I know. I'm just tricking you. It's impossible, right? Because now your contextual information is gone, your two-dimensional vision is gone, and so what you're stuck with is what I call is one-dimensional vision, and that is basically a linear way to interact with the computer. Luckily, this situation has changed a little bit with the introduction of touch screens, but on the desktop, we're still largely talking about one dimension, especially as far as the keyboard is concerned. So let's say I took you to a page.
New tab. Now in all my questions for Jeffrey. Microsoft Word document 1. Safari. Safari. 1. New tab. Untitled. Search Google or enter an address. Address and search edit text.
Where do you think I am?
You are currently on a text field inside of a toolbar.
Well, okay, Google, yeah, maybe. But that's only because Google is built into the browser. But I'm actually on the address bar, right? That's a fair guess. So let's do something.
Open location. Period. M. Unhighlighted.
Okay, which page do you think I'm on? You wouldn't know. So this is the typical experience of somebody who is blind. I'm going to refresh this page so you guys can actually hear the title of the page, and this way you will know.
Reload page. CNN.com. 87% loaded. Visited link image. CNN. List 4. Screen curtain off. Display bright. CNN.com. Breaking news. U.S. World Weather. Entertainment and video news window.
So that's the title of the page, okay? So you kind of know that I'm on CNN.com, right? What else do you know about this? Not much, because we're right now on the page, and I as a blind person have no idea about things on the left, on the right. I have no idea where those stories appear. So the way I deal with this situation is that you start gathering, you start mapping out the screen little by little. So you start tabbing. Oops.
Link. International. CNN International. Link. Mexico. CNN Mexico. Link. Arabic. CNN Arabic. Link. TV. List 5 items. Link. CNN. CNN TV program. Link. CNN. Link. CNN on it.
Okay, before you fall asleep. So we're going through some kind of toolbar, right? And so if you just imagine, I'll let you use for the rest of this exercise, I'll let you just use your imagination. You literally have to go through the page, if you're a beginner especially. You have to go through this page. It's like looking through a straw. You know, you slowly move a straw across the screen. You're like, oh, okay, now I start getting it. So on the left side, or maybe first comes the menu bar, then second comes, eventually we're going to get like to top stories, and then we're going to get to probably some kind of advertising, and then we're going to get to some kind of footer, right? So, so this is basically how a screen reader user works to learn about web page. Now, we have this language, and hopefully I'm not going to steal thunder from Ramya, but I have to mention a couple of these things. So we have the language of the web called HTML, and HTML lets us mark up our page in such a way as to make it easier for somebody like a screen reader user to dissect the page and avoid all this repetitive tabbing. So you do this only when you absolutely have to, but if the page is marked up correctly, you can actually reduce the time that you have to spend tabbing through the page, because HTML gives us features like HTML headings, we've got form fields, we have lists, and so if we use all this HTML correctly and provide the necessary semantic information, the screen reader, being software as it is, can take advantage of that stuff. It says, hey, I'm smart, I can figure that out. I take a web page, I scan the DOM, I can see the headings, I can see links. Now, if the heading, of course, is only a CSS heading, but it's not actual H tag, the screen reader, as smart as it is, it would know that it's actually a heading. So to show you what I'm talking about, I'm going to turn on the screen. Let's see, where's the thing?
Screen curtain on.
Okay, here.
Voiceover muted.
Oops.
Voiceover. Link. Page.
Oh, no.
Screen curtain off.
Okay, cool. Here we go. I just want to double check. So what I'm going to do, I'll use this feature of VoiceOver is to show you like a quick overview of this page.
Headings, 37 items.
And you guys should see that, right? So there's a list of headings, And as a screen reader user, I can go through this list and actually decide which of the headings I really care about.
4. Breaking news. 1. Link MERS reaches U.S. 1. Link first U.S. case of deadly virus is reported in Indiana. 4. The latest.
Okay, so you've noticed that also next to each heading there's a number, right? 1, 4, 3, 2, and so on and so forth. This page, by the way, is poorly structured, but that's a separate story. We're gonna cut this out from YouTube video. Anyway, no. So these are different levels of headings, right? Just like in Word document, if you guys create bibliographies or things like that, or when you have like chapters and sub-chapters and sections, it's pretty much the same way, right? Except that in HTML we use heading levels to indicate that. And yes, there are shortcut keys to let the users, once they know the page, once they learn its structure, there are shortcut keys to say, hey, you know what? I know that my top stories begin with heading level 1, so I just want to jump between those. I don't care about other headings, okay? So all of these things are available. So I just pick one of these headings, let's say...
4. Breaking news. 1. Link MERS reaches U.S.
Press enter.
Heading level 1 link. MERS reaches U.S.
And the focus jumps to that particular place on the page.
You are currently on a heading level 1 inside of HTML.
So you can see just immediately how by using headings, I already cut down a number of keystrokes that I have to press just to get to the middle of the page. So, essentially, you can see there are other things like...
Headings. Links 391 items.
Wow, see how many times you'd have to tab? 391, and that's at best. So there are also other shortcut keys to get you to, because
Heading
obviously not everything on the web page is focusable. There are some elements on the web page that are there are pieces of text, like subtitle of the story. So there are shortcut keys to let you go through that. So I can simply move through the DOM in this fashion. Okay, so let us quickly, so this is in principle how Screen Reader works. I'm going to check out Jeff's, should I use Safari or Chrome? Okay.
Open C, on selection C, period, M, unhighlighted, insertion 2, heading, link, Facebook.
So without going to Facebook, many of you guys are using Facebook. I hear that they say...
You are currently on a heading level 1 inside of HTML content.
This is actually...
Ooh. Enter to mess click. Next link not found. Next button. Previous button. Heading. Link not found.
Wait, you got it?
No.
Trackpad commander.
Okay.
1. Facebook. Link. Facebook. Close tab. Twitter. New tab.
I asked you. You said it's okay.
Accessibility. Twitter. HTML content.
Okay, cool. All right. Now I can use Facebook. So yeah, I heard that teenagers are...
You are currently on HTML content. What? To enter the...
Facebook. Oh, something else? Yeah, we can use something else.
Open location. O-M.
Sorry about that. Jeff, I didn't mean to. I asked you.
Password. Secure. Sign in, but... Open WPOM/com/AALLIE.
All right.
Heading level 2. Visited link. Twitter list.
So so when we move into the world of web apps, obviously not everything is going to be as simple as just like moving from link to link or moving between headings. And so Twitter and Facebook and Gmail and some other leading providers have done some amazing job in sort of exploring how can we take the web further and not just sort of, for example, take the web further when we have to deal with web apps. So for example, in Twitter's case, and Facebook is the same, but since, Jeff, we couldn't get it working, so they're kind of like in parallel. They provide a lot of shortcut keys to let the users feel like they're using the actual app and not just a website. So for example, in Twitter's case, I can use, actually, I'm first.
PayPal accessibility.
I can use letters J and K to move between tweet feeds. And the same thing on Facebook, you use J and K to move between posts, which is really, really cool. And you notice that Screen Reader will actually announce all of this magic, of course, is done with the help of focus, right? So every time the J key moves, the
Retweeted by PayPal accessibility.
So the focus is being moved to that object, right? So in this case, it's going to be a tweet. And then, similarly K. And you guys, those of you who use Vim, anybody here uses Vim? Yeah. Okay. Wow, not too few voices. Yeah.
PayPal access.
That's okay, because I don't use it myself. So. Yeah, I have other editors I like. So, but anyway, so it's a pretty unique thing to do, J and K, and but this is okay because this is like, on YouTube the same thing. You can use J and L to move backward and forward in the video, and then K to stop and play video. So this really helps. So now we're moving into the space of, not just being like a regular, just looking at the regular website, but also working with more complex applications. So if I wanted to know what shortcut keys are available on Twitter or on Facebook, anybody wants to guess the shortcut key?
Figuring out the other shortcut keys?
Sorry?
The shortcut key for figuring out the other shortcut keys?
Yes.
Question mark?
There's always a one key, right? I mean, you guys know about security. There's got to be public and private key. Without those keys, you can't get to the rest. So there's always one key you got to know, right?
F1.
Good guess. Anybody else?
Because somebody
Question
else.
mark.
Yeah.
What is that?
Question mark.
Okay, let's do it.
Keyboard shortcuts alert dialog close button.
All right. So this thing popped up. It's got a list of shortcut keys, and there's
You
plenty
are
of them.
currently on a button.
And also, you may have noticed that screen reader said something like alert dialog, which is really important. This is going a little bit more into beyond, I think, basic stuff. But essentially, one of the big problems on the web is that while on a desktop you have a clear distinction between what's a window and what's not, programmatically it's actually broadcasted as a separate window. On the web, we have only divs, right? So people use divs and like, yeah, it's a separate div, so make it look like a window, so it's a window, right? Well, it's not the same for if you use a screen reader, because for a screen reader, div doesn't mean anything. So there are certain super semantics we can lay over in the code to communicate that, hey, this is actually a pop-up dialog, which is what exactly happened in this case. And then I can just use, I'm not going to...
Note, to use these shortcuts, users of screen readers may need to toggle off the virtual navigation. Enter.
So there's some
Clickable.
instructions.
Open tweet. G. Clickable. F. Clickable. Go to user. Clickable. F.
And so on and so forth. You'd go and you'd study all the shortcut keys. But yeah, this is all you need to know. Even on Facebook, just press question mark and the shortcut keys are there.
PayPal.
So essentially just, Ramya is going to summarize some of the stuff that I was talking about, but I want to spend a bit of time on mobile. Remember I told you that? I'm going to keep my word. Where's this piece of technology that I need to use? Oh, cool. Okay, let's hope nobody's going to send me any messages.
So as long as it's here, you should be.
Okay. Okay, can you give me the audio cable?
Yeah.
Oh, it's from here, right? Yeah, so in 2009, we already mentioned this company, Apple. They thought to crack the problem of making touchscreens accessible for blind people. Because, it's all great when you use a keyboard because you can feel each and every key. Or even if in the case of Nokia, you can use buttons or, sorry, Nokia, RIM, whatever the older phones, right? And so what do you do with the touchscreen? So they had to figure out how to make the touchscreens talk. Okay, well, the software part of it wasn't all that difficult, right? So they took VoiceOver that they have here, they took it, kind of ripped it apart and restructured, and they put it in the iPhone. Okay, that's great. We got there. First step. What is the biggest problem? You guys are smart people here, right? Those of you who don't know how touchscreens work, what do you think is the biggest problem in making touchscreens accessible for somebody who is blind? It has to do with gestures. I'll give you a hint. So you have a screen reader. It'll talk. So we assume that. What's the big thing? It has to do something with the way you gesture with the touch screen.
Where do you press?
Okay, right. So where do you press? Okay, so let's say I want to find out where I press. What happens when I put my finger on the screen?
Does the thing for you. so you kind of don't really know where the focus is. If you use them just just tap it once to hear what it actually is, it'll actually simply execute that gesture instead of telling you what actually is there.
Did you guess that or you knew that?
I kind of do.
You did? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, well, you saved everybody. When the ship is, about to sink, there's always somebody who's going to save the ship. So congratulations, you get a medal. That's exactly what they had to figure out. Surprisingly enough, it's very easy now for us to talk about it, but supposedly up until 2009, with all the proliferation of mobile phones, nobody actually, even the first 3 models of Apple's iPhones, they came out without pretty much any accessibility in them. So it was really amazing when somebody said, actually, we can do that. And basically, all they had to do is to take over the gesture. So when you launch VoiceOver on your iOS device, it will take over the gesture in such a way that you touch once to hear what you're touching, and then the second and touch twice to execute it. So now
1:42 p.m. Friday, May 2nd.
I'm gonna make it louder. Sorry.
Unlock. Friday. Unlock. 1:42 p.m.
Okay, is this?
Friday, May 2nd.
Oh wait, you know what? Give me a
Unlock.
second.
Friday, May 2nd.
I forgot. I need to. Oh, these corporate phones. Actually, you'd be surprised, not really.
Double tap to open.
You know why? Because I think the speech takes quite a lot of battery too, because it constantly keeps on talking. But that would be great, actually.
Reminders. Double tap to open.
So the screen curtain is on.
Screen curtain off.
Okay, let me just.
Characters. Language.
Down.
Headings. Containers. Hints. Sounds. Volume. Speech rate. 80%, 50%, 45%, 40%.
Okay, cool. Okay, now hopefully you guys can see it. So I single touch something.
Reminders.
Reminders.
Double tap to open. Notes. Double tap to open.
And then it gives me a hint to double tap to open. So if I wanted to see, I don't know, let's say reminders.
App Store.
Actually, let's do App
Double
Store.
tap to open. App Store. Updates. Heading.
You double tap, right? From here on, you have 2 ways of exploring the touch screen. Now, remember, VoiceOver controls my gestures. So there is a way to ask VoiceOver to bypass a gesture, means don't, let me, the next gesture, pass it through directly to the app. But by default, most users wouldn't want to do that because it's pretty dangerous, unless you know what you're doing. So I can just start exploring the screen.
Updates. Heading. Purchased. Instagram. Version. Beats Music. Version 2. Sidecar. And featured. Tab. 1 of 5. Near me. Search. Selected. Update. Search. Near me. Top chart. Featured. Tab. 1 of 5.
Okay. You notice right away what happens there, right? Is that I can suddenly start getting a spatial imagination of the layout of the screen, right? So I've got a tab bar at the bottom, which consists of 5 tabs.
Selected. Updates. Tab. 5
Not
of
only
5.
that, notice how VoiceOver tells me which of them is currently active, right? When it says selected.
NPR News. Version 3. Featured. Tab. 1 of 5. Top charts. Tab. 2 of 5. Near me. Tab. 3 of 5.
So if I tap one of those,
Search.
let's say
Tab.
search.
Selected. Search. Tab.
Now search becomes a selected tab. So remember how I talked about one-dimensional navigation on the desktop? Well, finally with tablets and touch screens, with the screen reader, we can actually start getting a little bit more into, so I can start, if I go to a website and I learn that something is on the left side, I don't have to go one by one. I can just scroll my finger. Oops.
Top charts. Tab. Selected. Search.
Yeah,
Update.
sorry, I
Tab.
forgot. Yeah,
Selected.
thank you.
Update. Beats Music. Instagram. Beats. Sidecar right. Version 3. Beats Music. Sidecar right. Beats Music. Instagram. Open. Instagram. Button.
Right?
Beats Music. Updated.
So that's one way. So you can drag your finger, learn, layout of the screen. You can also, one of the things they've done is that they say, well, it's going to be hard for some blind people to immediately readjust to touch screen. So we're going to give them a feeling as if they were using a tab key. So you can move through the hierarchy on the screen by
No service.
starting anywhere on the screen
Instagram.
and just swiping.
Open. Beats Music. Open. Updated. Sidecar right. Open. NPR. Open. YouTube. Open. Venmo. Open. Next door.
It does take a little longer, but if you're in a hurry, or if you're just exploring, or if let's say you're not comfortable in using touch exploration, that's another way. So you can swipe right and left.
Near me. Tab.
Yeah, so
PayPal.
I'm almost done.
iTunes Store.
And so the last thing I wanted to show you is that, so as you can imagine, all of the gestures, like single touch to here, double touch to activate. There's also, of course, you can swipe left and right,
Extras folder. Messages.
and so on and so forth.
Page 1 of 13. iTunes Store. Settings.
And so last thing I want to show you
Settings.
guys is where to find
Do
this stuff.
General. Button.
Because there is no
Selected.
reason.
General.
There is no reason why you guys studying HCI should know how to use these cool gadgets, right?
Text size.
If you go to
Accessibility.
accessibility,
Button. Accessibility.
and I think I already mentioned 100 times, but I'll just say it 100 first, is that it's built into every iDevice. Can you imagine? Every. Apple TV has something, some kind of that, iPod Touch and iPad and iPhone.
This voice Zoom.
This is where voiceover is.
Voiceover.
So if you
On.
want to learn how to use voiceover, you go here.
Voiceover. Speaking rate. Speaking rate. Speak. Double tap once to
And
select.
that's it. It gives you very basic instructions how to use voiceover. If you're not comfortable getting yourself into trouble, you can always tell Siri turn voiceover on or turn voiceover off in iOS 7.1, I think, iOS 7, and that's always going to get you out of trouble. So since we talked about desktop, we talked about mobile phones. I want Ramya to come up and talk a little about the web. And the reason why we spend so much time talking about the web, companies like Facebook and Twitter and PayPal, is because web is really our desktop of the future. I think every battle that's going to happen, including the one with FCC, is going to happen about the web, right? Make the web accessible, keep the flow of information going. And the web is so important. So this is why it's so important for all of us to keep web healthy, and for you guys as developers, as people who design interfaces, to be doctors of the web.
Fine. Keynote. Stanford's voiceover off.
Okay, Ram.
Okay, I'm going to begin with a small world story. Prior to working at Facebook, I worked at Stanford University as a web accessibility consultant in Scott Stocker's team. So I want to shout out a thanks to him for connecting us to the right people to make this happen. And I want to thank Michael Bernstein for letting us present here, although none of us have our PhDs. So I'll try to talk super fast because we're running out of time. For the next 5 minutes, I'm going to give you all a crash course on web accessibility. You'll all be web accessibility experts at the end of 5 minutes. And then since today is all about acronyms, we saw PORE and SOAP. I'm going to leave you with an acronym which will help you recall all the basic principles of web accessibility. I'm going to try to do live demo with voiceover. So let's see how this goes. Command tab to get to the.
While we're waiting, so you guys know that I remember. Repeatable, operable, understandable, and robust.
What if I just quit out of Keynote and just command Keynote again? So much for making this fast. Okay, let's. No, it's not about WhatsApp. Okay.
Maybe we should turn on the screen.
Yeah, so you're fumbling through this. Okay. Yeah. We're just trying to jump out of Keynote and kind of, yeah. Now I'm a bit nervous about turning on voiceover. Okay.
Welcome to OS Safari. Accessibility 101. Accessibility 101. HTML content.
You want to turn off? Okay, let's get started. I'm going to walk you through the basic principles of web accessibility and also try to relate them to design. So I'll start with headings. We all understand why headings are important for visual design. They help visually organize the content in the website, so it's really easy to glance at the headings and know what a website is trying to convey. But headings, as Victor demonstrated, they're crucial for accessibility because a person using a screen reader is going to try to get the gist of a website just by jumping through the headings. So let's take a look at that with VoiceOver. I didn't know Victor was going to do the school demo with CNN.com, but I'm going to stick with
VoiceOver on Safari. Accessibility 101 window. Accessibility. Heading level 1. Headings and semantic markup.
I'm just going to jump through the headings.
Heading level 2. Like this heading. Heading level 2 and this one.
Okay, the next two headings are marked up using divs and not semantic
You are
H2
currently on
tags.
heading level 2 inside of HTML. Muting.
They're marked up with divs and not semantic H2 tabs, and you'll notice that VoiceOver skips these two headings.
Last heading level 2 and this one. VoiceOver off.
So that's why it's really important to mark up with your headings with semantic H tags. The next demo I have here is a set of form fields. The first set of form fields, I've associated the labels with the form fields with semantic markup. That's a label with a for attribute pointing to the text field. And the next set of form fields, I don't have the labels associated with the text fields. That's unsemantic markup. So let's see what VoiceOver does with this.
VoiceOver on Safari. Accessibility 101 window. Interact with Accessibility 101 HTML content heading level 1 semantic markup content. Interact with heading level 1 semantic mark heading the name edit text.
Okay. It announced the label for the field, which is name.
You are currently on a text field inside of VoiceOver off.
I'm trying to tab to the next field. So Victor, do I need to do anything to tab to the next text field? It's not tabbing when I tap to it. Okay. So the original demo was a lot more obvious because when you tap to the fields, VoiceOver will announce the name of the field, but I'm just going to try to move through each element now.
VoiceOver on address edit text.
So VoiceOver announces the label, which is address.
Telephone edit text.
Okay, now I'm going to jump to the unsemantic markup.
Edit text blank.
So
edit text blank. Edit text blank.
So that's why semantic markup is important.
VoiceOver off.
Jumping to the next principle, it's images and non-text content. I have here a few screenshots from popular web applications like Gmail and Microsoft Word. And the reason I've called them out here is it's not clear to me what these icons indicate until I activate them and look at the options in the menu. The third screenshot here is from the Amazon mobile app. The icons are really clear and there's text right below the icons, which makes it obvious what the icons stand for. Now, if vague icons are confusing for a sighted person, it creates a really painful experience for someone using a screen reader because now they would have to tap to the icon, activate it, and then go through the list of options in the menu to know what the icon is representing. So let's look at a demo. I have two images here. The first image, I've associated it with some textual description, and I do this by using the alt attribute in the image tag. And the first image is without the alt attribute, and the second image I associated with an alt attribute, and let's see what VoiceOver does when I navigate to these two images.
VoiceOver on Safari. Interact with 1271084 underline 1015220310846172 underline 809245696 underline no.png image.
So that's an image without an alt text.
The Facebook logo image. VoiceOver off.
Okay, so that's short and sweet, and this is an easy problem to fix most times, but this is actually pretty prevalent on the web. There are a bunch of images that don't have alt text associated with them, and they are inaccessible to screen readers.
What about user-generated content, like upload photos?
Okay, you hit the nail on the head. So I'm going to cover that towards the end of my talk. The third basic principle is keyboard navigation. What you see here is actually the screenshot of a design document from the Salesforce blog. I thought this was interesting because it was a design document calling out tab stops and keyboard navigation. But keyboard navigation is also crucial to accessibility because a person using a screen reader, as well as those with motor disabilities who cannot use a mouse, use just their keyboard to interact with elements on the page. So let's look at a demo of this. Basic elements like links, buttons, and form fields, which are marked up with semantic markup, get keyboard focus by default when you tap to them. But things get interesting when you build custom widgets and they're built with unsemantic markup, like this fake button I have here. So let's look at this repository.
Voiceover on Safari. Interact with accessibility once your link, focus buttons, button. Text field, contents selected, form field, text, fake button, clickable.
Okay,
Voiceover off.
this demo did not work because I was supposed to tap to the fake button and VoiceOver would not have tapped to it, but something is broken with the tab navigation right now. And so it did announce the name of the button, but if you actually build buttons with just divs or spans and you try to tap to them, the screen reader is not going to tap to those elements. And we'll see in a few minutes how to make this fake button accessible. But before that, my last principle, which is a little bit of love. For designs to be compelling and for them to create delightful experiences to users, we have to meet and exceed users' expectations, and the same is true for accessibility. In addition to focusing on headings, keyboard navigation, and non-text content, we also have to augment our HTML document with some additional attributes that convey this extra information to screen readers. And that is done with ARIA. ARIA stands for Accessible Rich Internet Applications, and it's a set of role states and properties that you can associate with an HTML element to talk to the screen reader. So in order to make this fake button accessible, I would actually give it an ARIA role of button. This tells the screen reader that this element is actually a button. To make it get tab focus, when you tap to it, I need to add a tab index of 0 to it. And I also need to make sure that it interacts with keyboard events just like it does with mouse events. So let's take a look at this
Voiceover on Safari.
with VoiceOver.
Interact with accessibility and fake button button.
Okay.
You are currently on a button inside JavaScript.
What?
I only respond to mouse events frown. Voiceover off.
I was supposed to show you that when I pressed enter with the keyboard, but something is messed up with the keyboard navigation, so I had to use a mouse to click it, so I cheated. But you would have seen this nice dialogue if it had worked with just the keyboard. Getting back to Michael's question, our jobs would be really easy if all accessibility problems were as simple to fix as we saw in these few examples. But we often run into situations where you have to be a bit clever about finding solutions to your problems. And I wanted to show you an example of where we've done that, and that is with Facebook photos. We have billions of user-generated photos from people all around the world on Facebook. And we can't force people all around the world to always enter a caption or an alt text for their photo. So to solve this problem, we built something called the caption generator. The caption generator takes bits of metadata associated with the photo, who uploaded the photo, where was the photo uploaded, who are the people tagged in the photo, and it generates a caption or an alt text for the image, which we then associate with the image. So when VoiceOver lands on the photo, it announces this nice caption for the photo. And I don't know if you have time for the video. Okay. So let's take a look at a video showing VoiceOver interacting with our photos. You'll notice that before we apply the caption generator, VoiceOver announces something generic like link image when we tap to a photo. And after we apply the caption generator, it announces a much richer description for the photos.
Link. Link. Cover photo, Clint Andrew Hall's photo taken at Colosseum entitled Nighttime Shot of the Colosseum. Link. Image. Profile picture of Clint Andrew Hall. Link. Image. Link. 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 Clint Andrew Hall's photo of Clint Andrew Hall and Arjun Rutzler, taken at aircraft carrier USS Hornet, entitled On the Dock Outside the USS Hornet, Such an Amazing Place. Link, image. Clint Andrew Hall's photo, taken at aircraft carrier USS Hornet, entitled Outside the Party. Link, image. Clint Andrew Hall's photo, taken at aircraft carrier USS Hornet, entitled The Passenger Receipt Was a Nice Touch. Everyone kept asking if the barcode was real. Link, image.
Okay, that's all I had. I'm now going to hand it over to Jeff, who's going to talk about making accessibility mainstream.
We end at 2:05, is that right? Would you prefer we do questions, or should I just keep going?
This is your call. If you want to do 5 minutes of questions, or people can stay after.
Do you guys have questions? I mean, I'm happy to field some now.
I think you can frame what you had in mind and then go for questions.
Sure. Okay, so presentation is supposed to end with a couple quick stories, and let me just give you one quick story then. I want to try to answer this question, which is why are we really here? Why was Facebook and PayPal excited to come to Stanford and talk about accessibility? And the story that I think captures that best is a story that starts at Facebook. So I want to introduce you to a front-end engineer named Jason. He is in his late 20s. He graduated from Carnegie Mellon University. He's about to get married in 2 weeks. He's a very nice guy. He was working on a product called Web Messenger. Web Messenger, if you use Facebook in a desktop browser and you send messages, that's Jason's product. So when he was working on Web Messenger about a year ago, we were doing a large refresh to this product. I noticed that there were going to be some challenge with it regards to accessibility and compatibility in a screen reader. So I reached out to Jason and I asked him, had he tested his product for accessibility? Had he tested it in a screen reader? Jason's response was, "What's a screen reader?" This is sort of the dreaded response that you get as somebody who's working in accessibility. When you reach out to an engineer and you ask them, are they working on accessibility for their product? And their response is, I really don't know anything about accessibility or what a screen reader is. So despite the fact that Jason had graduated from an outstanding engineering program, had passed the technical bar to work on front end at Facebook, he had no exposure to accessibility. And I'm not here to push Jason under the bus. I really don't think this is Jason's fault. In fact, most of the engineers that we work with at Facebook have a similar experience as Jason. They've not been exposed to accessibility in their training. And so I think it's a little bit difficult for us to expect that the web is going to be accessible if the people who are building the web don't have much understanding about accessibility. So one of the reasons why we were really excited to come here was just to connect with students like you guys working in design and HCI and computer science who are ultimately going to build the future web and build future products. We want you guys to know earlier in the process, in your life cycles as developers and as creators about accessibility so that you can demand it from the products that you're building and you know what to do. You have some best practices. I know that Ramya moved pretty quickly through some of the HTML demonstrations, but
The acronym I was going to talk about is HIKE, H for headings, I for images, K for keyboard navigation, and E is extra love. So that's the acronym. I forgot that.
Yeah, so just remember HIKE next time you are working with a web team or building a web product. That's like, if you know those things, you can build a more accessible experience. And that's really what it's going to take. It's going to take a scaled approach to this, right? Not just a handful of companies trying to solve this, but everyone who's building the web to understand more about this and to know what to do. So I'll end there. If we have some time for questions, we're happy to stay for a little bit. But thank you very much for your time.